I definitely understand why. I think this is a great scope overall. It's really fun. Can I bowling you? No. Oh, wow, I can. All right, so hello gamers, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be showing you the top 10 best scopes in Phantom Forces. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you're new. Phantom Forces, good game. Please subscribe to my channel, yeah. Anyway, for our number 10 scope, we have the ACOG. The ACOG is not really the best scope in the game, but I really had to put it on the list somewhere. And it definitely fits in number 10. Like, you cannot have a top 10 that does not have the ACOG. It's just a great overall scope. You can run it on a sniper rifle. You can run it on like a DMR, even an assault rifle in some cases. It's great for longer ranges, but it's not super trash for close range either because of the fact that you don't really have to fully zoom in. It doesn't have any shift to steady. It's got a really good like actual, wow, okay, you're back, magnification without being extremely obstructive. And the reticle is cool, not great, but pretty cool. It's pretty simple. Yeah, that's it. Really good scope overall. Next up, we have the Interventions default scope, which is the NXS. One of those got some numbers that really don't matter because wind speed doesn't really have an effect in this game because there is literally no like wind speeds or anything like that. But there is bullet drop, and I guess the bottom line actually kind of helps. Mostly it's just the fact that, wow, okay, this is a pretty clean reticle. The numbers and stuff are kind of like not really that big of a problem. It has a 10x zoom, which is pretty cool. It's just a nice crossbar. I actually use it on the Intervention as the main scope. There are definitely going to be better sniper scopes, but there's also a lot of worse ones as well. So number 9 is not really too bad of a spot for the scope. I think it's a really nice scope for sniping. Next up, we have the TA01 ACOG, which is really good for DMRs. The reason for this is it's your average, pretty good ACOG sight, a little bit more obstructive than the default ACOG maybe, but it's a decent sight overall. And above it, you actually got the iron sights, and you can press T and go between the two. So if you're going CQC, you can actually just run these and then you get some easy kills. And then in long range, you can actually switch to your main ACOG to get some easy long range kills. It's not really the best for like actual sniping because I don't feel like a sniper would be that great with this kind of iron sight. It's pretty obstructive. I'd probably rather use like a canted delta. I don't really use a canted delta at all, but like you can. But this is definitely a very good DMR scope. But next up, we have the Global Offensive scope, aka the OP CSGO scope. This is a 10x zoom and it's pretty unobstructive. It's literally just a bar. Like, how can you not say this is unobstructive, right? The reason this isn't a great scope in my opinion is because it actually slows your aiming speed. And I just don't really like the reticle. It's clean and all, but like it's just kind of a boring reticle, and I really like to have a little bit more to it. This is definitely better than the Intervention scope because of how clean it is, but not my favorite scope, and it also does slow your aiming speed. Aiming speed by default is 18, which is pretty fast, and with Global Offensive you have a 12, which is a lot slower. That's like 50% slower. So I don't really like the scope because of that. A Malcolm might even be better. As you can see, you still have 18. It's basically a Global Offensive with less zoom, which is kind of cool. Definitely a good scope overall, but not my favorite. Next up though, we have the M107 scope, and this scope is really clean, but also it's got a little bit more to it than your Global Offensive scope. The reticle on this one, it just is a great looking scope, and it's just honestly kind of one of the best scopes I've ever used. And I think if it was on a different sniper rifle, maybe more people would use it. It is one of the scopes I do see outside of just using it on like the gun it's on. When people have a lot of kills on a sniper rifle, they sometimes will go to this one. And I definitely understand why. I think this is a great scope overall. It's really fun. Can I bowling you? No. Oh, wow, I can. 10x zoom, it's clean looking, but it's not like super boring looking as well. It isn't the best scope in the entire game, but I do really like it. Wow, you are dead. 445 studs. Wow. Next up, we have the Sagittarius 40x, which is a bit of a goofy scope, I'm not gonna lie. It has a 40 times zoom, which is kind of crazy, but it has a backup 10x zoom, which is just, you know, your average sniper scope. A lot like the Intervention scope, but with the added bonus of having that 40x for extreme ranges. It does have a couple of problems. First off, you have to press T every time you spawn if you want to use 10x zoom, and secondly, it does slow your aiming speed by quite a bit. But this is probably one of the best scopes in the game, not necessarily the best scope in the game. It's a really goofy scope as well because of the 40x. I use it on the BFG to have an extremely slow aiming speed setup, but having a 40x zoom can be really helpful for extreme ranges. Not really the best for like CQC mid-range fighting for sure. Not like the best dire scout scope or anything, but it is a great scope all around. At the number 4 spot, we have the Malcolm 3 times. The Malcolm 3x is a great scope. As you could probably expect, it has a 3x zoom, doesn't have any shift to steady, and doesn't actually slow your handling at all. It also has an extremely clean reticle. Unlike the Global Offensive, this has really no downside to be used because literally it's just a 3x zoom with no negative effects at all, except for the fact that, you know, it is a fully aimed in scope, I guess. But if you want a fully aimed in scope, this is probably the best one. Except for a few scopes that I kind of like more, but I'll get to those in a second. This is a great scope. It just doesn't have a lot of zoom to it, right? But like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It really helps with recoil. It's still really good for longer ranges, and it's definitely better for like a DMR. Probably the most popular scope in the entire game, outside of people just using it on like their default sniper rifle, because then it would be like the Intervention because everyone uses the Intervention. If we're going off of what scope do people actually like pick the most, it's definitely going to be going to the Malcolm. You probably use the Malcolm on at least one gun. Wow, okay. I literally just joined this lobby. Another Desert Storm lobby. This actually used to have a shift steady, which was super stupid, and they realized it was pretty dumb, so they took it off. And actually, this is probably the best scope in the entire game for any automatic gun. That may be the ACOG, but like I see a lot of LMGs with this, and I kind of understand why. I even tried it on my like AUG H-bar and Scar Hammer, and it was actually pretty good. I didn't love it, but I could see why people were using it. I prefer my Coyote sights for like all ranges, because it has a 2x and it's still pretty unobstructive and everything, but this is a great overall scope, and I literally just joined your lobby, and it's already over. Next up though, at the number 3 spot, we have the VCOG 8x scope. The VCOG actually does improve recoil, which is kind of interesting, but most importantly, it's just a really good scope. I'm actually using a straight pull bolt on this gun, so it's gonna be really bad. Hold on, let me put on a straight pull bolt. This scope has a really cool reticle, a little bit less zoom than a regular scope, which is really nice. Kind of like a beautiful looking scope. I've always liked this scope. It used to be the VCOG 6x reticle back in like 2018. I liked it then, and I like it now. It's not my favorite scope in the entire game. There's 2 that are higher, but if your default scope kind of sucks, this is probably like one of the go-to ones. Maybe the go-to because it's not super expensive, at least compared to these. It is 3,000 kills, but better than 5,000. Kind of wish it was less kills though, because I feel like a lot more people would use it if it was like, you know, 400 kills or something doable on a sniper rifle. Sniper rifle scopes are so difficult to unlock, dude, and that's a bit of a crime because I feel like a lot more people would probably be using them. Make them high kills on like an assault rifle, but like on a sniper, make it only like 1,000 kills. I don't know. 3,500 is so not doable for like 99% of the people that play this game, and it's just kind of sad because a lot of people will never be able to see these scopes unless they pre-buy them, unless they spend like all of their credits to buy it on one gun. I feel like there should be a sniper rifle that has this by default. That would be a really cool feature, but that's not a thing, and probably will never be a thing. Definitely not a great scope for Metro, but like it's a great scope overall. I really like it, and it's actually what got me into the Shire Scout because I wasn't really finding the Shire Scout that fun, and I tried the scope on it, and I was like, actually, it's a pretty good gun. For the number 2 scope, we actually have the TA11 ACOG, which is a really good ACOG variant because not only does it have the default aim, which is a really nice, basically just regular ACOG, right, with a little bit of a different scope, but it also has an alt aim that has this, which is a pretty decent all-around scope as well. I just really like the reticle on this one. The circle makes it great for hitting headshots. I don't know why. And it's just a really fun scope overall. I don't know. Good for sniping, good for DMRs. Is it the best overall sniping scope? No, but it's probably one of the best ones in the game, in my opinion. You got to keep in mind that this is my opinion. I mean, like, you can't really objectively rank the scopes. I guess the VCOG probably would be the best one because of the camera recoil recovery speed benefit. But yeah, overall, really great scope. I really like it. Really fun to use, and I don't know why I'm not headshotting you. It's like 400 studs, actually. That would not one-shot headshot. If it could, that would be broken. This is like the one time you'll notice that this gun can't one-shot headshot, because the headshot killing range on this gun is so incredibly far. It's stupid. There you go. Bonk. I use this on DMRs, the SVU, and I could see using it on like an assault rifle as well. It's a really good scope. Not necessarily just like a sniping scope. It's just a good scope overall. But the best scope in the entire game is actually going to be going, not the intervention scope, but the BFG scope. The intervention scope is cool and all, but like, look at this scope, dude. It is so good. You can actually change the color of the center plus. It just takes a lot of kills, and I don't have those. But honestly, maybe I should grind those up because that would probably be worth it. This is a really good scope. Great for sniping. It's actually pretty good for like the SVU as well. Definitely a sniping scope though. This is not going to be your average, ooh, I can use this on an automatic gun. So definitely not going to be like the best overall scope in the game, but for actually sniping with the scope, BFG scope is so good. It's got the plus mark. You can change the color of the plus to actually hit shots even better. It's just kind of cracked. Like, it's just a great scope. I'm not gonna lie. Well, let me know which scope you guys like the most in the comments down below. For me, it's got to go to the intervention scope 2.0, the BFG scope. This looks exactly the same, except when you zoom in, you're like, wait, that is a better scope. It's just a great scope overall. Wow, you're bad. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Ooh.